I think my philosophy as a writer is that most of it is just like staring at a wall, and that's okay. So I am slowly writing a book, and I'm gonna kind of take you guys on my with me on the process a little bit. I right now, um, I don't even know when I'll be done with this book. Honestly, I don't really have a timeline for it because it's hard. It's a memoir, basically, about my story, and I'll get into a little bit about that later on in the video. But so far, I am, mm, I want to say halfway through it. I started this actually like 7 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But that's when it, like, the story and everything like first started. And so I'm kind of, I was working on it at that time just as a way of like processing things. And then the stuff that I wrote all that time, like 7 years ago, I'm not really using that, but that was the initial like inspiration. And so now I have been working on it for like legit working on it for like the past couple of years. I don't even know the timeline, honestly. I went to school for writing. I got my degree in English. And so in various classes, I worked on that for my like capstone project. That's what I did, like 30 pages of it. And then after graduation, I was working with one of my professors on it. We would just meet weekly and go over what I had written, and he would kind of help me do the process and everything. But now I am kind of on my own, and I have found that I am terrible at holding myself accountable for like most things. And so I want to do this video as like a way of holding me accountable and being like, if people are interested in it, then I'll keep doing it. I mean, I'm gonna do it anyways because this is just something that I have to do. But I want to document it because I think it's also interesting to kind of, for the people that maybe want to write a book and they don't know where to get started. I'm not saying I have all the answers because I don't even know what I'm doing, like, at all. But I do have a degree, and so I know a little bit about what I'm doing, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so since I am like essentially unemployed right now, I mean, I am doing writing stuff like for work, but it's freelance, and so that basically means unemployed when you're like not getting a lot of work. And so I am kind of using this time to work on it more too. Um, man, I need a job. Okay, but first I need to get ready because this is just not gonna work. Well, I'm getting ready. I would like to say that I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna be writing, but I'm really not going to because that would just be a lie. So yeah, come get ready with me. I hated that. I'm kind of scared to like film myself. I get really insecure about it because I've just never been someone that likes filming myself or really like taking pictures of myself. My dad is he does photography, And ever since I was young, I would always shy away from his pictures, and he'd be like, I just want to take a picture of you. And my sister would like comply, and then I would just be running away from the camera. And so it's kind of ironic that I'm doing this now because it's just so not like in my comfort zone at all. It is in my comfort zone to talk to myself because like who else do I have? But it's definitely not in my comfort zone to make a video talking to myself. That's kind of weird to me. I kind of have had to grow and kind of getting used to the fact that like not everyone is out to get me. Most of the time people are just focused on their own lives and they don't really care what you're doing. So like why not just do what you're gonna do and like live your life. I've been avoiding writing. Like I haven't written this book since it's been like a few months since I worked on this. So I need to actually like get started. Okay, I feel much better. Okay, so I'm just gonna talk a little bit about what this book is going to be, and then I'll shut up and just like actually get into this. So essentially, I had a heart transplant. I think I mentioned that a second ago. I don't know what I've said. And it was over 7 years ago. It's gonna be 8 years this year. That's crazy. But it was a wild story. It was like, I mean, getting a heart transplant in general is a wild story, but this one was like everything that could have went wrong, like quite literally. And so, um, it's been a long journey. So I've been writing this book. Initially, I said it started like as a way of processing my emotions, and not even I didn't know that that's what I was doing, but that is what I was doing. I just first wrote about this one time I had when I was in the rehab facility. Because during this whole story, I had to learn how to like walk again and how to talk again and how to do things like pick up a drink again. And yeah. And so when I was in that inpatient rehab facility, I was so determined to like walk again. And I was doing physical therapy, trying to kind of regain my strength. And um, I was really irritated because it was taking a long time and I'm very impatient. And so one day, I think it was like at night after my parents had left, I decided I'm just gonna go on my own because I need to use the restroom and I hated having to press the button and wait for a nurse to come in. So I was like, I'm just gonna do it myself. And so I got up, and I like used a walker. It was like right by my bed. And mind you, wasn't just like, okay, I'm gonna get up and walk to the bathroom. This was like I could not really, I could barely walk. Like my steps were like that. And so I was like making my way to the bathroom, and I like make it in the bath. I make it to the bathroom, and I'm like sitting down on like the really tall toilet, um, and like with the door open, because that's just what you do. And what's it called? Like my nurse walked in, and she's like, "What are you doing?" But anyways, so that was like a funny story that I always would like think about because at the time I like didn't care. But then looking back, I'm like, oh, I definitely a million things could have gone wrong. Like I could have easily fallen and like broken a bone and then been in the hospital for longer. So I like wrote a little story like that story out, and then that just kind of like was the first part of me writing the book, and then it kind of led to me thinking about writing, but I didn't even want to be a writer at the time. I was in high school, so like I liked English. It was my favorite subject, but it wasn't something that I was thinking about pursuing. I wanted to do art actually, and so that was just basically the start. But anyways, so the book I'm writing is about my story, and so far, oh, I haven't looked at this in a while. I have like the title for it and prologue done, or not the prologue, the preface done, and I have up to chapter. I really only have like maybe 3 or 4 chapters done. What happened was I stopped part of the way through because it's a very emotional thing for me to write. As I said, there was a lot of trauma, and so when I first started writing this, I could not write for more than like an hour without crying, and I would have to just take a step back so many times. And so for some of the parts, I've kind of just waited to write it. One, because I mean, it's very vulnerable for me to write, and then two, because I don't remember it, and so I'm like having to like cycle through the experience and kind of go back, which is traumatic in itself, and figure out what I'm trying to write and like where was I at that time. And it gives me kind of anxiety to write it sometimes. So that's also why I'm kind of giving myself grace and taking my time. And I'm not signed with like a publisher or anything, so I don't have like a timeline for this. But I don't know if I should show myself writing and like just cover the screen, or if I should just, you know what, I've shown enough of myself. Something that I struggle with a lot is writing dialogue, and I don't know why it's so hard for me when it's like it should be easy, right? Like we talk all day, every day. I talk to people all the time, but it's just something that's like so difficult for me to write. And it's weird for me because I always felt like that's something that I would be good at. Um, and so sometimes when I'm writing, I'll get in the habit of like just writing like out a scene and writing all the background details, and then forgetting to write dialogue, and it like turning into like a um like a Jane Austen type novel where it's like loads of heavy um, expository stuff, and then it's like, I mean, she has a lot of dialogue in hers, but for me, it's just the expository stuff, and I'm like, oh, I probably should like make it sound like there's actually people in this story, and I don't know why I'm like hating everything that I write right now, where I'm just really beating myself up. But something that I learned in school is that like the first draft is pretty much always gonna suck. Like no one's gonna make like an amazing novel on their first draft. It's not gonna be like I'm not thinking of any good books right now. I don't know. I was gonna bring up an example. My mind is just blank. Um, and so that's something that I have to like realize because I'm really hard on myself in most areas of life, but especially with writing because that is what I got my degree in. And so it's what I feel like I should be doing and what I feel like I should be good at or the best at out of all the things I could be good at. And so I need to just chill out basically and I need to write a really crappy first draft and realize that like I can always go back and fix it, but I can never fix something that I don't write. I am going to take a break when I finish that. And we'll see whatever that is. We'll see. I'm probably only gonna get through like watch 2 sentences because I'm taking so long. But okay. So I have basically finished this. There's just strawberries at the bottom. And I have written like 3 and 3/4 pages. Um, which is actually more than I thought that I wrote, so I'm proud of myself. And something that I often do when writing is if I just don't know what to say for like a certain part, like let's see. For here I was thinking I put like I'm listing out something and I like to list sometimes in threes, but I couldn't figure out what the third thing was going to be, so I just put a bunch of X's. And then a lot of times also what I'll do is if I'm like, oh, this is the only word coming to mind, but I don't know if I necessarily like this word, I'll just write the word that I had and then I'll put it in red and come back to it like I don't know when later, and change it out. Probably when I go through an editing of this, which I don't know when that will be. And then let's see. I'm wondering. I should do this. And so let's see. So I think I'm gonna take a break right now. When I come back, I might just do like a little writing exercise to get my brain moving. Even though I just wrote those three pages, I feel like I'm not really uh like creative right now. I just don't know. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do some drumming to like change it up a little bit, and we'll see. So the creative activity that I chose is coloring because I really want to play drums right now, but my mom's in a Zoom meeting in the hallway. So I can't do that, even though my drums are quiet, but you could, like with the headphones, but you could still hear the pattering of the drums. So I'm just gonna color a little bit and maybe I'll show what I'm coloring. I got this for Christmas. My sister gave it to me. It's just this adorable little coloring book. It's called Little Corner Cute and Comfy Coloring Book. And these are the ones that I've done so far. So cute. So this is the first one that I did. A little pizza shop. And then this is the second one. It's honestly so cute. Oh. And then that's actually all I've done. But you have to make sure to put a piece of paper behind it because the colors bleed through. But it's cute because they also have like a little test page, which let me get to it. So you can like test the colors. Um, let's see, what one do I want to do next? Okay, I think I'm gonna do this one. That's really adorable. think I'm gonna be done with coloring for now because the drums are open to use, hopefully. So I'm gonna do some drums. I promise I'll get back to writing, but I just need a break. So let me just do some drumming, which I'm actually not very good at. I took lessons, but when I was taking the lessons, my instructor would always be like, "Did you practice?" And I'd be like, "No, because I don't have a drum kit at home." And so, yeah. But now I have a drum kit, and so I can practice, but I can no longer afford lessons. So, you know, take it or leave it. So I'm gonna practice, as I've said like 5 billion times, and then I will finish writing. So you actually won't be able to hear it because it's plugged into the thingy, and I don't know how to make it so that everyone can hear. But let's do this thing. Hey, okay, so basically I'm a liar because it's actually been quite a few days since I last sat down and wrote. So in the last time I did this, I was coloring and then playing the drums, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get back. I never got back, and so yeah, and I also got sick in between that time and now, so I'm getting over a cold. But I thought, okay, well, since I'm stuck here at home, I better work, and it's a good time to write. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Since I haven't written, or like since I haven't worked on this again in a while, I'm gonna write hopefully more than I did before. Ugh, I'm aiming for maybe 5 more pages. By the end of this week, it doesn't have to be today. Which honestly, 5 pages is not a lot if you think about it for someone that's not doing much right now. But we'll see where I get. Once again, trying to give myself some grace. So, okay. Okay. Also, look, please ignore everything going on right here. I have too many books on my bookshelf, so I don't have anywhere to put these. Okay, so I wrote all together for this month. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say for this month because I'm still gonna write more, hopefully, before the month is over. So like the rest of this week. But I wrote around 1,315 words. Yay! One thing that I realized I suck at, or not that I suck at, but that like is just hard for me, is doing endings for chapters, or not chapters, for just sections, like endings of anything. I struggle with a lot, and I'm always like, how do I end this? But again, I can always come back to it and change it. And also, I think a lot of times I feel like the ending for a section within a chapter has to be like a conclusion, but it really doesn't because it's just a section. Even like when you end a chapter, I don't think it has to be like, oh, and then I learned to ride my bike. I think it's just like, okay, and then we're here, and then we're going to move on to the next part. I mean, to some degree, you need to have like an ending that makes people want to keep reading, but I think I know that I think too much about these things. Also, when I end, I don't know if I said this before, but when I end a section, I just type startup where I finished off. That way, I can remember where I was at. So, like when I come back, I write in Google Docs, by the way. But when I come back, I could just press Command F and search for startup. And then I'm like, oh, it was on this page. It was on page yada yada. So, yeah, I might end it here because I don't trust myself to keep writing for the rest of the week, honestly. Um, we'll see where it goes. But, anyways, thank you for coming along with me. If you guys want to keep making videos like this, let me know because I think it's actually kind of fun and it keeps me accountable. Um, but I hope some people find this interesting. Let me know also if you want me to, like, I don't know, do it differently. Ultimately, it's up to me, but like, I don't know if this is boring, just people watching me work, or if I should like add some more stuff in. But yeah, thanks for watching. Okay.